Becky Lynch calls herself the man. It's the women's revolution. WWE no longer objectifies its women's wrestlers or creates sexist storylines. Everything's fine for women in modern professional wrestling now, right? Right? Not exactly. Well, Becky Lynch's storyline is by far the most interesting thing happening this year, which is amazing. It wasn't designed to be that way. And if you look below the surface of the women's division, things aren't exactly as empowered as they seem. So, couple caveats. First off, I am a feminist buzzkill, die mad about it. Like, eat my whole entire ass. We're gonna split this video into 3 parts: booking, branding, and blondes. Let's talk about recent WWE women's storylines. And okay, I know booking and storylines are like the same thing, but let me have my alliteration, okay? Let me do my thing. I love Becky Lynch. I love Becky Lynch. I love Becky Lynch. I love Becky Lynch. She just shows up, fucks shit up, embarrasses Ronda Rousey, and leaves. She's by far the most interesting star that WWE has to offer right now. But just like Daniel Bryan before her, the company didn't intend her to get to the position that she's at. The man is not a WWE creation. The man created herself. Becky's storyline is subverting feminine expectations of a WWE superstar by exacting agency against a rigged masculine system by adopting traditionally masculine traits and nomenclature. Everyone compares her to Stone Cold Steve Austin in her personality and her actions, who is the epitome of male idealized power in the Attitude Era. She's taken on the phrase of the man, Ric Flair's catchphrase, who himself is a notoriously sexist character, and repurposed that phrase as an empowering thing for women. She's bloody, violent, vicious, and takes no shit. Also, we're gonna get married. Becky said, "The man isn't about gender, it's a state of mind. It's about being at the top. It's walking into the male locker room and saying, sorry lads, none of you are cutting the mustard. I'm the man now. I'm taking over this ship." I didn't try and do an Irish accent. This is great, but it's still gendered language. It's telling that a woman can only rise to the top of WWE by taking on masculine traits, which is especially kind of shitty when you think back to the legacy of China, who was constantly made fun of for not sticking to traditional femininity and was just really sort of abused for looking the way she was. And even though she was the goddamn best, China deserved better. But aside from Becky, what other storylines do the women get? Recent male storylines are fighting about the environment, about consumption, about, you're big and I'm little. Oh yeah, control of the company with Baron Corbin. There's 3 major storylines that women get. They're crazy women, friends who sometimes hate each other, and fighting over men. Alicia Fox, crazy. Great Northern Lights suplex though. Nikki Cross, crazy. So they've paired them together, of course. Alexa Bliss and Nia Jax, friends who hate each other on and off. Sasha and Bayley, friends who hate each other on and off. Charlotte and Becky, friends who hate each other on and off. Don't even get me started on Naomi versus Mandy. Mandy trying to steal Naomi's husband because she hates her because of something she said in NXT, which totally wasn't like the original plan, but they were trying to like make the story more interesting, which was a decent save, I guess. And Sonya. What self-respecting lesbian helps her straight dumb friend steal another perfectly nice woman's husband just because she feels like it? Get more queer friends, Sonya. Nia Jax could have been a great thing for WWE if she could wrestle. But then of course her major storyline, until she accidentally punched Becky in the face, was entirely centered around her weight, forcing Alexa Bliss, who has been very open about her history of eating disorders, and Mickie James, who is subject to one of the most sexist storylines of the past 20 years with the Picky James storyline, make fun of Nia about her weight, which, like, yeah, she got her own back, but what a shitty fucking storyline. And now Nia's a bad guy. And she still can't wrestle. Part 2, branding. Ever notice how the women in WWE aren't allowed to say the word feminism? It's all about empowering women and giving girls self-confidence, which is great. But what they're really doing is dancing around the issue so that they don't alienate conservatives with their language. Conservatives obviously want their daughters to be empowered, whatever that means to them, but they don't want them to be like crazy liberal man-hating feminists. So the language is very specific. basically, is what I'm trying to say. The next problem with branding is Stephanie McMahon. I know, Stephanie McMahon has annoyed someone. Oh, big surprise. Stephanie McMahon has made herself the leader of the women's revolution, which is just, it's not correct. If you actually read about the development of the women's revolution and how the matches have gotten better and women have been allowed to do more, it actually has way more to do with Triple H and the women of NXT than anything Stephanie ever did. Over the years as an on-screen personality, Stephanie has participated in a ton of horrifically sexist storylines herself. Some maybe she didn't want to do, but her dad was in charge, fine. But being that complicit in your and other women's dehumanization, that doesn't go away. Making yourself the face of the women's revolution just because you're the only famous female McMahon is shitty. That's tokenism. That's what we're wanting to avoid. If the whole point at its very most basic of feminisms is equality and representation based on merit, and then you, with no merit, but as a woman go, oh no, I did the women's revolution, that fucking sucks. To be fair to Stephanie, the fact that everyone hates her and loves Shane is sexism, but when you're like a bad woman anyway, I don't feel bad. I don't feel bad for any of the McMahons. They can all eat my butthole. They can all go away from TV forever. The McMahons can just, if I never see another McMahon on my TV or in life ever again, I'd be so happy. Go hang out with Donald Trump, you assholes. Also, WWE pats itself on the back for its women's revolution when all of the people who were writing all the sexist storylines and approving all the sexist storylines are still the people writing and approving storylines. Real change isn't superficial, it's institutional. Keeping the same bookers, directors, and administrators shows that you're just changing because fans got mad, not because you genuinely care about your women's wrestling. I don't know why you would brag about how far women have come in your company when you were the ones who were making them look bad in the first place. Like, what kind of self-drag? Part 3. Blondes. Let me start out by saying that as a blonde white lady myself, I should not and cannot be an expert on race. There are lots of really, really smart, amazing people of color who have talked about this much better than I ever could, and I will link to some of them below, but I would be remiss if I didn't talk about the race problems that are rampant in the women's division. I mean, the entire company has a race problem, and it has for forever. Remember when Triple H told Booker T that people like you couldn't be champion? Yeah, not great. So to talk about this, let's look at the women who are or are rumored to be getting pushes in the WWE right now. Charlotte, blonde and white. Ronda, blonde and white. Lacey Evans, blonde and white. And racist. And homophobic. Mandy Rose, blonde and white. Becky, not blonde, but still white. Just a sort of optics example of this. Look at the 4 starting women in the 2019 Women's Royal Rumble. Blonde, 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 pink, formerly blonde. You get the idea. Vince likes his blonde white ladies. Now let's look at the women who are being criminally underused. Asuka, one of the best women's wrestlers of all time, SmackDown Women's Champion, who's barely on TV. No one has any idea what her Wrestlemania plans are. She has no storylines. It's bull. Naomi, who is arguably the most athletic woman on the roster, who has been there forever, who is so good, and just nothing. She's thrown into a random tag team with Carmella because they're randomly friends now. Also, her entrance is a fucking bop. Bring it to the floor. And then Ember Moon, who is a fucking amazing wrestler, was super famous on the indies. She's got this amazing, weird, nerdy character, an amazing finisher, and what's she doing? Like going 50-50 booking with Nia Jax? So why isn't Vince giving these women a push? You know why. If you can't tell what's going on here, I'll give you a hint. It's racism. To sum this up, I am not at all blaming any of the women on the roster. They're doing the best with what they're offering. I love all of these women. They're my favorite parts of the show, aside from Lacey Evans and Ronda Rousey, who can go choke. All of these women deserve so much better than what they're being given. Hopefully, with new companies like AEW coming up, and women's wrestling being such a big thing on the indies now, WWE will continue to have to push their women's wrestling better. A probably Ronda, Charlotte, Becky main event, that would be a huge moment. No one's denying that. But it's a huge moment because WWE has fucked up for so long. And you can't be like, woohoo, women's revolution is fixed, because it's not. They're still shitty. There's still so many problems. The women's revolution is not over. Basically where I'm going with this is the WWE is a bad company and I give them way too much money. I hope this video makes wrestling dude bros angry. And I love women's wrestling. And I wish I could do it, but I'm a potato. And a trash bag person. Okay, that's it. Subscribe. Bye!